Right, we're going to go step by step through how to do a kipping bar muscle up. We're going to put the word kipping in there because people have been carrying on at me that apparently we can't just call it a bar muscle up. We've got to use the word kipping. So I'm going to show you a kipping bar muscle up today. First things first, I need my grips and I need some chalk. I don't even know why I've started without them. So bear with a sec. So perfect. Got my grips on, chalked up. I've also taken my shoes off. Don't ask me why, I just prefer to do it this way. First thing that we're going to look at doing is position one, which is going to be jumping into a hollow. So a hollow, if you don't know what that is, it's an active hang position. So it's this position where we're going to be on the bar. We've got compression from our lats and our abs to tuck ourselves in here, and our feet are going to be slightly out in front of us. This position is going to allow us to build some momentum into the arch before we come back to then find the power and explosive movement to get us up above. So when we're setting up for this, you need to set about a foot back from the bar, and you want to be at a bar that you can be able to jump to touch. It's pointless me going for something too high because I might have to readjust my grip. I need to be able to jump in, so I'm bang straight into that active position and pull myself through. So I'm going to start under the bar, take a step back, just my grip in, jump into that active hollow position. And that is the first position that I'm going to be in. You can see that I'm not swinging uncontrollably. I gain activation straight away by compression through those lats, and then I keep the tension to come forward and backwards. So I'll show you again. So under the bar, step back, wax off. Once I've mastered that, I can then use that momentum now to pull myself into the arch, which is the opposite position, this way, to then come back and land where I start. This is where you know if you've got the correct amount of tension in, if your timing's right. If I sort of swing through and I'm nearly like falling forward, you know that you aren't pulling at the right time. So I need to hit that hollow, big aggressive pull through, push back to my hollow, and then I'm going to land exactly where I started. So again, get yourself into the routine of just taking that step back. You can see I'm back to that start position. So again, I'll show you once more. From here now then, we need to start thinking about getting explosive power up towards the bar. So we can do that by either doing a leg raise or a knee tuck. I prefer to do knees rather than leg, but the choice is yours. There's no right or wrong way to do this. The reason I do a knee tuck is because in CrossFit, we have to pass through a dip. If I do a leg raise, I tend to do what we call a glide, and there's no actual dip at the top. So my reps in a CrossFit competition, if I do a leg raise, would be classed as no reps. So I make sure that I transition over, so I've got a slight bend in my arm, so I still get that dip to lock the rep out at the top. So I'm going to do this with a knee raise. So we're going to go through the steps as we've just done. We're going to jump into the hollow, pull through into the arch. As I come back, I'm thinking about big lat activation by compressing into the bar. I'm then also going to start drawing my knees up, and my knees are going to start heading in the direction of the bar. I don't want my knees to come towards my chest. I don't want too much compression. I don't want to be in this position. I want to be what we call an armchair position. So if you imagine I'm sat in an armchair, hands on the side, knees are about in line with my hips. Don't bring your knees too high up. So again, we'll go through the steps. Little step back. So you can see there, I'm pressing hard against the bar whilst I'm drawing my knees up. That gives me big position and momentum behind the bar, and it gets me into a power position so that I'm ready to extend my hips, and it's that hip extension that gives me that extra height up towards the bar. So I'll show you the armchair position again. So again, starting on the bar, a little step back. And I can see there that I'm getting in the right position because now my hands are starting to get lower than my shoulders. So if I did hip extend, my hips are coming towards my hands, and that's going to allow me to get the transition over the top of the bar to then finish with the bar muscle. Before we start looking at the transition though, we need to look at the hip extension or hip opening. So once I've got into that position there, I need to think about pushing my knees down nice and quick and exploding, and that's going to give me that jolt and that power up towards the bar, which is the direction that we're trying to head into. So again, just adding it onto the process. And you can see there that I then get the hip extension after I've got the armchair position, squeezing my glutes and hamstrings tight, pressing hard into the bar, and there I'm in this sort of position and I'm ready to then start the momentum over the top. So I'll show you one more of the hip open and then we'll start looking at the transition. So again, underneath, step back. So you can see there right at the top of the rep now, my hands are much lower than my shoulders towards my hips. So that means that I'm in a perfect position now just to get the transition of pushing into the bar to come over the top. You'll see loads of people saying like, throw a big headbutt over the top of the bar. You don't want to think about that. You just need to keep thinking about pushing into the bar and pushing your feet down. With the momentum of your feet going down and pressing into the bar, you're going to sort of like teeter over the top. And that's going to put you in that perfect position here. I can then do the dip to extend out the top. So we're just going to glue all the stages together now. And we're going to finish with that transition of pushing feet down, pushing hands into it and over the top of the bar. And then we'll be able to finish at the top of the rep. And you can see there, it's as effortless as that. Snappy hips coming over the top. Like any movement, don't try go from position 1, the hollow, straight to the 5th position at the end where we're trying to get the transition. Build yourself through the stages. And if at any point you're not in the right position, you know where you've got a point of weakness, and that is the point that you need to work, you need to drill, do accessory movements to try strengthen before you can then move on to the next stage. Don't try run before you can walk. Build yourself towards it. Any questions, let us know.